Good morning, welcome to Pieces of Pat Paints. I'm Pat. I paint pieces. My hair's going crazy today. We did finally get the well fixed. Everything's good. So after we get done with this, I'm gonna take a nice, long, hot, luxurious bath. I need it for my hip too. I've done something to my hip, so it won't hurt. So I might be kind of pausing a little bit here and there. That's all right. That's just how it goes. You get older, you just things just start hurting. It's weird. I kind of pulled something in my back on Sunday, and ever since then, I've kind of been like, "Urgh." And now it's in my hip. Like, it's weird how like you pull one thing and then it starts making other things act up. So my hip is really sore, probably from supporting my back. If I'm completely honest, it's probably how that works. I've dealt with a lot of stuff before, so pain and things like that. So I kind of understand a little bit about pain management and kind of how that works. So my guess would be is that my hip, which is already usually pretty angry, was supporting all this pain in my back, which is finally like the part of my back that was hurting. It's finally not hurting so much, but my hip hurts, like, and so I can feel the difference. Anyway, that nobody really cares. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you like those parts of the blogs. Actually, you never know what people like. It's really weird. It's a fun world we live in. So anyway, the idea is to kind of make a vlog about, me in the studio and what we do around here. So, I try to include a little bit of that stuff for people who like that. All the social media stuff is all kind of, I suppose, voyeuristic in nature. So, which is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being a little bit of voyeuristic. I'm a little voyeuristic. I do. I love it, man. I dig it. So, definitely nothing wrong with it. But, it is kind of how it goes. So it's fun to kind of chit chat about, what's going on and how we're doing. But anyway, though, like I said, especially because, you get to see some of the drama play out in all my little side quests, I guess, or at least get to hear about it. Because we had that was crazy. We had to have the well redone. They had to dig up a tank, which they actually didn't ever dig the tank up. They never found it. They just put in a new one. Anyway, so I went ahead and I put our oil wash down on all of this, so we could come back today. Let's have a little bit of fresh bronze. Bronze is going out on us. This palette's probably hit its end, which is unfortunate. I like it better when I'm able to get them super dirty before I have to replace it. But you only get like a day or so out of it, really. Maybe 2 days. Like, you might be able to come back 2 days later and deal with it. If you keep it kind of juiced up and stuff like that, it works out a little better. But they work pretty good. I definitely recommend it if you're working on projects kind of off and on through the day. You know what I mean? Especially for us older gentlemen and ladies that have, responsibilities that we have to do. So we're just going to come back and we're going to bring in some highlights. Some of this stuff. I bet that dog's going to interrupt me here in just a minute. But you never really know. Be careful here that you're not over painting. the transitions. It gets hard to kind of explain this part, but there's places where the image transitions, or the gilding transitions into the next part, and it's supposed to be a little flatter. So like you skip this little line here, this little bit here, so it leaves that line. And that's what we're trying to do. And then like here, we just want to get the top of this. Right, we don't want to get down in there. So we're going to do that top edge there. We're going to do this little thing in the middle, ever so gently. And this one on the bottom, if we can get it. Gotta breathe. There we go. Whenever this little leaf, we just need the outside edge. We don't want to get on, again, we don't want to get onto those crevices. Right here, the same kind of thing. We're not trying to touch the insides of things where it's going to be super schmutzy. We just want to bring these details back out. Now, you could do this with a dry brush if you're not so sturdy with, or you know, steady hand with your smaller detail brushes. You could definitely just dry brush this on, and it's going to look fine. It's going to look absolutely fine. That's what I used to do, honestly, when I was trying to get things done, you know, when I didn't have the time or a show to do it. I probably would have just dry brushed it and gone on so I could play the game. But now got this show, so we're trying to create some real interesting looks here. And kind of making, you know, actual, I don't know, art on these miniatures instead of just, you know, battle ready. Because there's a difference. There's a difference, and there's nothing wrong with both styles either. Like, if you just paint battle ready, do it, man. Go play your game, have fun. That's what it was really designed for. That's what it's about. I hope you enjoy what I'm doing, even if you don't paint this style. There's absolutely nothing wrong with anybody's way of painting. I'm never going to tell somebody they painted it wrong. I might tell you you could do this or that to make this look a little bit more this way or that way, just to see what exactly it is somebody actually might want from their model. But I would never say that it's wrong. It's just not how I perceive art. And because there's no wrong in expression. Right? That's not real. There's no wrong in expression. So if you're expressing yourself, that's art. And so you know, that is what it is. I don't like all art, and I think that that's fair. I think that you can not like a certain kind of art. Totally fair. But you can't say that it was wrong. You can't say it was wrong. You know what I mean? I mean, we do that sometimes. We're like, oh, they did that movie wrong. They did it wrong. They made it wrong. Well, it is and it isn't. I mean, they made it the way they made it, and it's not wrong. You just didn't like it. You know, and heck, I've been guilty of saying that same thing. And just maybe a little perception change. Alright, straps on the shield on. More gilding. Oh my gosh, I gotta take a break. I gotta lean back just a second. Oh my gosh. Oh. I'll not lean back. I gotta lean. I guess I could. It's really weird. You just gotta lean in a certain direction to get the the throbbing to end. I think I might have pinched a nerve or something. Like something got dislodged in my back, and then it got. I was gimping along, and then I got a nerve stuck in my hip, and now it's pinching or something. Because it definitely hurts more in certain places at certain times. So I don't know. That usually is a pinch or a pull, which definitely also possible. It could have pulled something, or it could just be a strain. Muscle strain, regular strains can do all that too. Make sure to keep breathing. That's my biggest tip when dealing with stuff like this, is to just keep breathing through it. Make sure you keep your brush moist. Doesn't have to be soaking wet. You don't want to water all over the place, but keep it from getting too dry on you. These things are super cool though. Maybe a little bit of a pain to get that paint on there and get it right, but man, does it look cool. I don't need to worry too much about the stuff under it. But this bit right here needs to be pulled out. What are we gonna do about this sword? I guess we're just gonna do the standard old one. A little bit of bronze for the hilt and the cross guard, hand guard. We'll add some rust effects and stuff to it. Honestly, you can put rust effects on the shield to shields and probably use armor. Hello, McBeardsly. Good to see you, my friend. Sorry for the abrupt end yesterday, but you know, plumbing calls because eventually nature calls, and I don't want to have to, out in the yard. I don't mind the number one in the yard. That's not a big deal for a guy, but it's not as easy for young ladies. So, and women. And number two is just not. You don't really want to be doing that in your house. That's just. Although I have lived in the hood, and I have seen the necessity that requires that situation. So I'm not here to judge anybody for what maybe they've had to do, but you really should. Maybe this camera gotta go up higher. I keep trying to work with this camera and get it to where focus is better and better and better, but it very, I don't know. It's like it's computer chip that tells it how to do the game, play the game isn't as good as it could be. Of course, right now is when my dog wants in. I did this sword last because it's definitely, and you could we'll see. Yeah, there's a couple places where I got other color paints on it, because with it sticking out there, it always had the chance of it getting covered in God only knows what color it would have ended up covered in. Yes, I know she wants in. I feel like we really just need to, we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to throw a little bit of that oil wash on it. And then I may just do some of the edges. We're not going to come back and paint a lot of, clean that up a lot. Oh, okay, I'm going to be right back. This is going to be entertaining, so enjoy watching this. Because my hip is really angry. Oh gosh. I will be right back. Yes, I know, kidders. The dog wants in. Oh goodness. Oh yeah, man. Climbing fences is definitely a game for younger people. Oh. I totally feel you. Okay. Okay, give me a second. Holy moly, that's painful. I really did something to myself. Trying to move that silly citronella plant. It's gonna need we're gonna need a dolly from now on. Really just try to catch these edges the best you can. Don't get too crazy. The shield's not quite as grandiose as that one. You want that one to really stand out. Gosh. Oh god. Had to get the dog's ball. Yeah. Oh, the dog hit it over the fence. That's funny. It was in the no man's land. That's fun. Where the alleys used to be before they fenced it all off and made it weird. I guess now it's considered easement. It's So here's an interesting thing for all of you folks at home that like to learn a little bit about how things really work. So every house has a thing that's called, or every property, not just houses, but your house, for example, has a thing called an easement. Your property line does. So your property line, where it on its edges, in particular locations, may have an easement or may not. There's always some sort of easement on your property. It exists somewhere. It'll have one, unless it's like huge rural farm properties. And even then, probably the one that goes to the main road where the big water ditch is, that's probably the easement. It almost always has one. So anyway, what the easement does, and in Sir McBeardsly's case, he probably has one on his front yard and then one behind his house where said alley used to be. Now this easement is technically his responsibility to maintain because he owns the property, so to speak. Now, if the government decides that they need part of that property, like they're going to install a sidewalk or they're going to do something to the curb or whatever, they just get to do it. They don't actually have to have your permission or any of that stuff because it's part of the easement. Now, if it's like a transition between what you're responsible for and what the city's responsible for. So if the city wants to make improvements to the easement, they can just do it. If you want to make improvements to the easement, you'll need a permit, most likely. It's very interesting. So it's a strange little thing about how government works when it comes to real property. And always remember there is a difference between your real property and all of your other assets. So your real property is going to be things like your house. Your house is real property, or any actual real estate that you own. So any tracts of land or rental properties or anything like that, that's real property. Everything else is just an asset. It's not the same thing. So property, when people talk about property and they think that they're talking about, oh, that's my property, and you're talking about their watch. No, that's actually your asset. That's my assets. That's how it's supposed to work. Because real property in general, is supposed to actually mean about like land. But you're talking like, that's like so old. We don't use language like that anymore. So now we use property to mean anything that you own. But in the terms of like the law sees it different. The law will consider your, in a court system, your real property is your actual, what you own. Still haven't found my dang jar. I'm gonna have to make another one. Sad, I've had that one for a minute. It was like an old bee face or something. Very carefully around those hands. We want this kind of blacksmithiness to it. Kind of old to fight. Makes it look old and used. We'll add a little bit of, like I said, we can add a little bit of a rest effect to it. Yeah, man, they're definitely. That doesn't actually mean shit. Yeah, once it's like on your 4 inches or from your property line, none of that actually matters. You can take that shit to court if you really want, but most of the time they're just going to tell you to piss off because you're wasting time. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, as long as you're not doing something obnoxious. But they'll get crazy, and then like that's what's weird about HOAs is like HOAs, like they have a lot of rules as to what you can do on your own property, and you're like, this is like, why would you get involved in that? Like, why would you belong to something like that? At that point, it's just to keep the poors out. The only reason you have an HOA is because you're trying to keep poor people or people that your HOA doesn't like out of your neighborhood. So it's classism. It's another word. Yeah, people who are arguing over their tiny property lines, though, freaking hilarious. That is real. This is like, man, take it to court. If you've got that big of a problem, take it to court. There's some little gashes and holes. I'm trying to kind of brighten it up with a little bit of this one's called lead belcher. It's a gray metallic. There's a bunch of these little divots and such. And we'll throw that rust in there and it'll really help. Make it look right. Got these bolts on that. Little tiny bolts. Make sure they're going to stand out. Loose enough. And that's just burnt sienna. With a smaller brush, possible. Like, get a little bit more color. You want it nice and thin, kind of glazy. And you think about how it's going to run. With a little bit thicker version of it here. That would go that way. It would be pretty rusty on that side. A little bit of that color into it now, which is good. God, my hands here. Oh, my head's killing me. Whew. Okay. This on, let this dry. Pull out some burnt umber and get started on this base. We're getting real close to having this guy all wrapped up, which is awesome. For you guys, if you follow the channel regularly, I released a new short yesterday. Go check that out. We did this little fun gal I did for my daughter. So she is on my shorts feed right now. Go check that out. And if you like what we do, like what I do, you like watching this, think we're chill people or whatever, whatever reason you like watching us, maybe you think I'm a good painter, maybe you just like to listen to the tunes we play on here, which is we made our own custom tunes, which is kind of fun. Give us a like and subscribe. Blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to get better at working that stuff in. Alright, do a little bit of this here. A little bit of that rust color. Not trying to overdo it here. This on. I probably could have finished this thing yesterday with we got hit in the middle of the show with the repair needs, and they definitely needed my help. There was no way I was going to be able to finish streaming yesterday. Okay. Oop. Of course I missed. See, I see a spot I missed as soon as I get in. There we go. Definitely excited about a hot bath tonight. I'm definitely gonna need it. Boy, howdy am I hurt. Woof. Brutal. Brutes with goots, y'all. Brutes with goots. Oh, just gonna lean off it for a second. You definitely feel it when I put a certain type of pressure on it. You feel it gets really hurting. And then it's sitting up like this all the way up, and putting pressure on it down. It's like, ooh, that's where the money is. But yeah, all in all, we got a really good looking piece going on here. Really happy with this one. Flipping hideous, man. Dark line right there. Hold it down more. And it's a mix of black and raw umber, just to kind of soften this edge and put some shadow in it. Here we go. Yeah, that's much better. Waiting on things to dry, waiting on things to dry. Let's see, sat down last night and homebrewed my old Nintendo 3DS last night. Oh wow. So you can get any of those games without actually having to pay for them? Pretty wild. Shipping. Try not to go crazy. Go crazy, you start losing what you actually did with the model. You gotta think about where the chipping is gonna happen most. It's definitely gonna be down here on his feet, right? And we're looking for, sometimes with these particular models, sometimes there's even chips that you can just use. Okay. There's that one right there. No, this one really just chippy. I'm going to put that little line in first. Yep, DS, 3DS, Game Boys. Oh wow, that's crazy. Always rest it up a little bit, back up a little bit more if you feel like maybe you overdid it somewhere or something like that. You can always come back and put a little more in there. Really make it old and grimy looking. Okay. Gonna make it, gonna make it, gonna make it, gonna make it. Power on through. Break on through to the other side. off me, bro. It's the first ant I've seen in a while. Man, I hate having to kill things for no reason. I couldn't get him to get off me, so he got rolled up between my fingers. I'm a pretty benevolent guy. All those people like. I'm not the kind of guy that goes out looking for trouble. I'm not the kind of guy that, you know, I want to see justice in the world, you know, and I like all the creatures on the planet. Very peaceful, tranquil guy. But I'm definitely one of those with it. Once I decide that it's time, it's time. So like, I don't know, a sleeping giant, you know, like don't wake me up from my slumber and everything's gonna be okay. If you start doing that bullshit, all bets are off. Or if it starts to impede what I've got to get done, then I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I'm gonna wait for this to dry just a little bit more. We'll drop the last bit on its base and we'll do his this stuff. It's the ring around the oof. I'm definitely having a day. I'm definitely having a day. Hurt. Give it the old blow working. Blow dry. Gonna blow off the excess moisture. Pretty easy way to make these bases look good. That's kind of why I went with the no frill bases. It's supposed to be on a World War I style battlefield. Well, there's not a whole lot of like trees and green. See, there's not gonna be a bunch of flowers and stuff growing. It's all gonna be destroyed. Mud, lots of mud, dirt. And sometimes I feel like you get too much on the base, it can take away from what else you're doing. Okay, let that dry for just a second, and then we'll do this last bit. We're gonna have this one done. Taking just some time too. I like it. Like it a lot. My wife's sassy cup. I like it because it's big and I don't have to get up and refill it. Usually one of those I'm pretty solid. Two if it's one of those days. That's not pungent enough. Probably could have filed that down. That's all right. I'm sure I meant to. With the black grill though, I feel like it's okay. Like we can have the bases be a little rougher in places, and it's not going to affect its aesthetic. One more time around the bottom, and we can call good. And that right there will basically complete my Trench Crusade stuff, which is really neat. Although I'm not sure we're going to paint tomorrow. Maybe one of these things I'm supposed to be doing as a commission. Alrighty. Just a few more seconds to dry, and I'll pick it up, show it off, and we can wrap up the show. What a great day. Turned out really great. Baxel, that thing is so gross. I can't wait to get him up in the spin. Get him up there. Probably gonna actually hit the spin next week because I got a bunch of stuff to come out before then, but maybe not. I might set him up to come out on Friday. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. A lot of it depends on if I can get up and move around today after all this. So my hip is like, I said, it's super angry, so I'm kind of like slow today. But you know, that's just life. You kind of get used to it. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I hope everything goes well for any of your endeavors, and be good to each other. Be good to somebody. Be good to yourselves. Hug and kiss your kids or relatives, loved ones. Might be the last time you see them. Never know. That's kind of morbid. Probably shouldn't say it like that. But be good to people, for real. And be good to your, like, be just good to people you don't know, honestly. Because, like, you really don't know what people are going through. We're all in this together, really, in the end. Although they make it seem like we're not, but we really are. All right. I love everybody. Thanks for watching. Give us a like and subscribe if you're new around here. It was just a like if you've already subscribed, of course. I think that's kind of written, but we'll say it anyway. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.